Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Wired Women Show, where I host unforgettable entrepreneurs from all over the globe. My name is Jennifer Nash. I am your global visibility strategist and publicist. And today on the show, I'm super excited to be joined by an amazing woman. Her name is Riana, and she's joining me from Florida, sunny Florida. Hi, Riana.
Hey, Jennifer. Hello, everyone.
Yay! Please introduce yourself to our viewers. Who is Riana?
Sure. My full name is Riana Milne. I'm a global life, love, trauma recovery, and mindset coach. I'm a #1 best-selling author, educational speaker. I have a podcast called Lessons in Life and Love with Coach Riana Milne. I'm a mom of 2 daughters, grandma of 5 and a half. One is on the way. I just love helping people heal from past trauma. A lot of people, actually, the research says 9 out of 10 people suffer in life, love, and business due to unhealed, unconscious childhood trauma. And most people would think, I don't have trauma. But It's interesting to know that everyone, 9 out of 10, have at least 1 to 3 of the top 10 childhood traumas. And when they're unhealed, you suffer unnecessarily. And I especially see this in love relationships. So it's my goal to help you create the life you desire and to have the love that you deserve.
Oh my gosh, I love you already. And this is just the introduction into our conversation. There's so much that you packed into that. And I hope that I can do justice to unpack it for our listeners. So the first thing that I noticed is that you talked about trauma and that the fact that it's mostly correlated to love relationships. And from my own personal experience, and I did have something like this where I met someone who was talking about cutting soul ties. Is that kind of like something that you do? And what does the life in the day of Riana look like in terms of when you're talking to a client?
I have many different clients, Jennifer. I have men and women, straight and LGBTQ clients age 16 to 30 who feel lost and can't find their career, their purpose in life. They're still at mom and dad's home and they just can't get off the couch. There's either depression or anxiety, especially in today's COVID world. So I really take the client where they are. Everybody is what I call an individual puzzle. They come to me with different concerns. Someone that just recently graduated was a woman very concerned about her weight and very depressed coming out of a marriage. Couldn't even think about dating again. And then there's another one that, is really looking to build her career. Maybe it's in coaching. So I do coaching mentoring as well. So it really depends on what somebody's goals and dreams are. But the first part is always healing their past childhood or love trauma first, making them feel amazing about themselves, increasing their confidence and their self-esteem so that when they go out there to date, they are feeling amazing. They feel like they are the whole package. But I also work with married people or people in long-term relationships that have these reoccurring emotional experiences, emotional triggers that they're fighting over the same thing over and over again, or they just push each other's buttons is what you hear. And what's going on is they are pushing each other's unconscious childhood trauma wounds. And they're not communicating properly around the issues or the problems. They're not even aware of what they're doing. So many of these behaviors are what we call normalized, because when you grow up in a household with some of these dynamics going on, you just, do these and think it's normal. It's everybody does this, but it's not true. So you want to clean up all those destructive, sabotaging patterns, be emotionally healthy yourself. And when I have 2 partners, I work with partner A and partner B, understand their childhood wounds, and then teach them a whole new way of communicating around their partner's prior issues or emotional wounds.
I love it. I love it so much. I mean, when I say I love it, I don't love the fact that it's trouble and it's pain and all that, but I love your explanation. It's awesome. It's very insightful. So from what I hear you saying is that obviously it's different people that you help, and it's not one size fits all because people come from different backgrounds. And the
Correct.
second thing is that you provide what we call here in England a marital MOT, which is like for motor vehicles, they can go to, like they can go and have a smoke test. That's what you call it in the US. So you do a smoke test and then you figure out why it is causing. Is it a catalytic converter that is causing the
The
smoke? What is
diagnostic.
the diagnostics and stuff like
Yes.
that? I love it. You've illustrated it so well. But the other thing that resonated with me so much is like you're talking about communications, because obviously myself as a communications expert, really like I really can resonate with that aspect of saying communication is everything. It's an art of persuasive communication, right?
Absolutely.
So even at a marital level, even at a personal level, people need to know how to communicate with one another. You can either be talking to someone or you can be talking with someone. So
Yes.
how does that resonate with you? What would you say is in your superpower toolbox that you can share with our audience about communication?
Well, it's interesting. My first degree from Penn State University was in broadcast communications.
There you
So,
go.
and I do a hybrid when I work with my clients, which is psychotherapist. I've been for 21 years, and coaching, which is inspirational, motivational, educational, right? So I teach them real tools, but there's a lot of psychology to it. And one thing that I find couples really struggle with are the five things: pace, how fast the words are. If they're too fast, it sounds aggressive. Volume, if it's too loud, it sounds like you're being shouted out. Tone of voice can sound critical or cynical, like almost a put down. Pitch, pace, volume, and this choice of words, right? If you're using blaming language instead of team language, like let's work together on this is the best way, and versus, well, you do this all the time and you do that, which is blaming language, right? And we want to use conscious awareness around words and communication. So that even means text or email, phone conversations, and conversations in person. Think before you speak, do, and act, right? So I teach unconscious acting out or just responding to being proactive in full conscious awareness. So you're not hurting yourself or another, which is the spiritual undertones of the coaching that I do, which is really important for healing and showing love and kindness, right? When you're working with your partner on these things. I have a great example, Jennifer. I grew up in Philadelphia area, and I had a ton of South Philly Italian friends who it happens in their household to talk really fast and really passionate and a lot of yelling, and this is just their norm, what's normal for them. And I had a couple in my office in Florida, and he was from the Midwest, where he grew up in a farm where life was slow and relaxed and easy. So his main complaint is, she's yelling at me all the time. And she looks at him, she goes, what do you mean I yell at you? I never yell at you. And I looked at her and I said, you don't hear it, do you? And it's so normalized for her. So we really had to work on what we call these vocal habits to change them and to slow her down. And actually, me being from Philly, I had to work out down here in Florida, which is part of the South, slower words as well, because it could have sounded more aggressive how I would normally talk from Philly, right? So we always have to pay attention to these vocal habits, especially when we're in relationships and the norms that we're bringing into them.
I like it. I like it a lot because as a political science major, I'm studying my master's right now, and we talk about norms all the time, and how people's characters are constructed because either it's nature or nurture. So how
Yes.
the kind of background where how you've been raised, or something that we've always done it that way in my culture, and but I've always spoken that way. And what I picked up on from you as well is that, like you come from a different culture, like somebody from Philly versus the Italian people that you referred to. It's the same thing for me. I actually have had that problem having just moved to the UK. From living in America for 15 years and then being an African, I'm a native Zambian, right?
Yes.
We're very passionate people. So we always like sort of like our voices are always high pitched with excitement and stuff like that. So when I first moved to England, I got fired from my first job, my second job. And the reason why they fired me, they said, you're too Americanized.
Oh, wow.
Told me obnoxious, you're too Americanized. I mean, that's sweeping with a broad brush, but putting my African passion and my nuances that I picked up from America, put those together. Of course I was explosive. Of course I was opinionated. And then coming across Brits who are so laid back,
They're very polite.
do not
Yes.
speak until you're spoken to kind of stuff. And I was like, always like, me. I really get your point. But also, there's something that you insinuated when you were talking. You talked about non-verbals and proactive and reactive communication.
Yes.
Could we delve deeper, a little bit deeper in that, and just maybe give our viewers an idea of what an example of what a non-verbal proactive and a reactive kind of statement, what it would sound.
Well, yes, the research shows that 8 out of 10 people have 8 out of 10 negative thoughts and reactive thoughts. They don't think before they speak. And when I'm coaching with somebody, I have to teach them the difference of reaction or reactive versus proactive. Proactive is what we also call living in the light, full conscious awareness, spiritual values of kindness. So, what you say, does it hurt yourself or another? And you think before you do this, right? So, this is what most people do not do, right? And we have to train the mind to be more consciously aware, which is proactive. It's also, let's talk about an example when COVID came. Most people are like angry. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm forced to be inside. I hate this. This is reaction. Someone that is trained to be consciously aware and proactive will say, wow, okay, I'm forced to be at home. I can start that new business I wanted, or I can open up another one and do that part-time and grow that because I would love to work at home, So we always think, what can we do? We know that in Buddhism is a lesson of this is the earth school. So we're here to face our challenges and learn the lessons and handle them in an educated, proactive way, a calm way. So when there is a challenge, we say, okay, what could be my plan A, my plan B? And we move forward in a proactive, educated, conscious way. If plan A doesn't work, it's okay. We take those lessons. There's no failures. There's only feedback. And then we take that and move on and adjust or try it a different way. All of this philosophy is part of what I teach called the mindset for success. And when people become consciously aware, instead of doing that reactive 8 out of 10, and then there's that negative thoughts like the victim mentality, right? Oh, poor me. That is living in the dark side of life, looking at the negative, buying into the anxiety, the depression, the stress of everything. That is all going to make you feel miserable. And when you live in the light, you have this amazing, wonderful energy or this lightness, this spiritual awareness about you. And people are very attracted to that. So when before my singles might have struggled because they're like, oh, he's going to dump me or he ghosted me. Something's the matter with me. And then they don't date for 2 months because they're depressed and they're down on themselves. That's all reactive, right? From the dark side, the dark way of thinking. So living in the light, now they're like, that's okay. That means he wasn't for me anyway. Next, who's the next one? Because I'm the whole package and I know that the right one will be more than happy to meet me. So you just don't let somebody else's reactions, get to you. You have full command using your conscious awareness and how you interpret those messages or actions, right? And they never have to be negative upon yourself.
I love it. I love it so much. I can resonate with that because I'm an internal optimist. And
Good.
I always believe you don't want to build a house in the negative or problem area and
Right.
the key and throw the key away. I always think about what's the solution. And I also can relate to that because there's so many people that want to think about the glass is always half empty instead of it's half full, right? So
Yes.
all those natural principles that we talk about, but from the spiritual realm, as a Christian myself, and you know, we always say the Bible talks about, you know, like a calm response turns away wrath, right? So it's like how you react to someone will either calm them or incense them to become more aggressive towards you, right? So I kind of like just picked up those interconnected synergies between what you teach from maybe your faith and from my own personal faith and my own lived experience. So that's very, very useful and very, very insightful. I really love it. And but it
Yes. I mean, when somebody's single and dating, if they're not right for them, you always leave them with a loving, positive message in case you run into them down the road.
there
You
you
can
go.
say, I think you're really a lovely person. I just don't think we're quite a match.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wish you the best of luck. And when you do that, that clears the way spiritually. Now you have a new open heart, open mind to receiving someone new.
I like
So
it.
if you're living in that negative space where, oh my gosh, he dumped me, or he gaslighted me, or he cheated on me, what's the matter with me? I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, all that negativity that so many people go into, that
Mhm.
victim mentality, then you're not going to show up with full loving energy to meet that next person. And they could have been right there in the coffee line, right next to you, and if you are so into that negative space, then your light is not shining that you can really meet that right person anytime, anywhere.
I like it.
Right.
I like it because dark energy, to your point, weighs you down, doesn't it? And it
Yes.
makes it blinds you from seeing what's right in front of you in that coffee line, right?
Yes.
I really,
Yeah. And I also grew up Christian, but I call myself spiritual. And spiritual is a way of being 24/7. It's
yes.
not about going to one religious service for 1 hour a
Oh
week.
yeah,
No, it is a way of living and thinking and being, and always considering, is this action, like I said, action, words, or deed,
yeah.
good for me and everyone else, right? Because what you do affects the all.
Mhm.
So, very important messages. And when you get to understand this way of being and living, it's phenomenal. And
Yeah.
my clients look back after 6 months and they're like, I can't believe who I was before. I can't believe how much my life has changed in 6 months just by adopting this new mindset, that I can do what I feel and believe I can do. And
Mm.
I do want this life I desire. And then really starting the actions to create that. And then
Yeah.
when my singles are feeling that full about themselves, their life, and I don't mean egotistical, I just mean happy and spiritual,
Yeah.
then they easily have many they can choose from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I see what you're saying. I completely agree. So being intentional and being present so
Yes.
that you know what's going on and you're not left behind. I love it. I love it so much. So anyway, so moving on. So as an entrepreneur, because I do know, yes, you're a teacher, and you're also a coach and things like that. So for my show, I always like when I bring in women, I know that I bring in badass, fearless
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, right? And I always like to believe that we're speaking to an audience that want to learn from your expertise because that's what this show is all about. Learning from these women that have challenged the status quo, they've gone and done it, and I want you to be remembered. So I want you to become part of my tribe of the unforgettable entrepreneurs that I've hosted on this show. So if
Love
there
it.
was one thing that my viewers could remember you by, that one piece of advice that you would give, let's say somebody who's just listening to you is in a relationship and they just want that one liner that they can quote you and say, Riana said, what would that be?
Well, I always say you can create the life you desire and have the love you deserve, and the time is now. Don't wait. However, I want them to know a little bit that my journey was not easy. At age 24, 25, my first husband that I had two amazing daughters with, stole 200,000 from my mother. And I took that debt on because I felt responsible and I didn't want to hurt her or the family. So most of my life, I worked 5 jobs. I couldn't get a loan because at 26, I had to become bankrupt due to his business decisions. So I took my first month's rent and a lot of prayers and opened my model and talent school and agency, which within 6 months became an international award-winning school. And I
Wow.
took small town people from Erie, PA, who had these dreams to be stars and actors and dancers and put them in the map in LA and New York and around the globe. And they got to feel their dreams. So when you have this mindset for success, no matter what difficulty comes your way, and I have been there, you don't relish in that. See, I had no time. I was a single mom. And then he turns around and gets child support from me. So I had to give the girls the life that I wanted them to have, which did include vacations, which means I was responsible to also give them the mindset for success. My daughter Alexi, you're from Africa, puts 21 water wells in Tanzania, Africa, starting at the age of 20. Why? Because she believed she could do it and she wanted to help change the world. She's now a millionaire coach and was in Forbes and Inc. magazine as a top 11 entrepreneurs changing the world. So
Amazing.
when you know the mindset for success as a mom, it's so important to teach your children these messages as well. My other daughter is one of the top 50 photographers in the US. So you can reach your dreams and goals despite what others have done to us.
Mm.
And when I uncovered the impact of childhood trauma on love relationships, it's because I went through love trauma a second time with a sociopath in my later years. And his comment was, I don't know why I sabotage everything I love. And I said, I don't get it either, but I'm going to figure it out, because 7 psychotherapist friends of mine had no idea why he had this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde secret life. So it was my research that uncovered the importance of healing these childhood trauma wounds. And he had 9 out of the top 10, and the severity level of 9 out of 10. So at that point, it could bring me the awareness and the forgiveness and of an empathy of what he endured as a child. And I could then, forgive and move on very easily in my life. And I helped heal myself by this research. And I thought, this is so important. I have to bring this message to the world. So Jennifer, I want to thank you for bringing this awareness that, there is healing despite what love trauma you've been through. Ladies, definitely, there is a way to heal and move on and have the best life and love ever. And your success is your best revenge. You don't have to get revenge any other way other than focusing on you and your healing, and then really creating that life that you desire. So then you attract the love that you deserve.
Oh my gosh. I wish we had more time. I actually want to sneak in one more question.
Sure.
So, what would you tell your younger self, Riana? Let's say you're 20. How old were you when you first got divorced? 24. What would
Yes.
you tell your 24-year-old self today?
I became spiritual at age 16, Jennifer, after my best friend was killed by a drunk driver. I had to make sense out of that loss. And I started reading the spiritual masters as a young person and became spiritual. Nobody got that part of me. They all saw, the model and the outgoing young lady that worked for the radio station. They all saw that person. But I was very deep. And I have to say, studying the masters was the best thing I ever did. So looking back and telling my younger self, you're doing great, kid. I'm proud of you. Like everything you did, even the hardships were a lesson learned. And you took that pain and made it your purpose and your passion. And now I'm helping women all over the world with my coaching heal from these things, these acts that are done to them. They didn't, I didn't create that debt. That was done to me. But you don't have to remain in that victim role. You can empower yourself to make your life even better and stronger. And I taught my daughters to be the same. You can be, successful despite how your father is, right?
Yeah.
Despite that, you had childhood trauma. It doesn't matter, so you take this and you make it your purpose and your passion. So that's what I would say. Like, I was proud of myself and I was always focused and determined to be successful. It's part of my DNA, of my family. You know, we all worked hard, but I always wanted to, you know, I loved helping to change people's lives. And I did it with my models and actors starting at age 26 in my own school. So, you know, no matter whether it's a therapy, coaching, a model and talent situation, I have learned this mindset for success is so powerful that, you know, to learn to live in a conscious spiritual way is the most amazing thing that you could do for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with that. And it would be very remiss in me not mentioning something that you've just reminded me about your daughter that went to Tanzania. By the way, my daughter just moved from Tanzania. She was
Wow.
married in Tanzania and she lived there for pretty much all her adult life. And she just moved back to my native country, Zambia. So I
Yes.
Tanzania like the back of my hand. I've visited there a few times. So which parts of Tanzania is she in?
Well, she works for the UN and they assign the villages to her. So she put in freshwater water wells. Her name is Alexi Panos, Panos.
Yeah.
And I remember at age 5, she sat in front of the TV and watched Save the Children commercial. She goes, Mom, I'm going to go to Africa one day and save those kids. And
Oh,
I said, baby, I believe you will.
yeah.
And, you know, when she became a singer, at 15, she had a dream to be a pop star. So she sings on 3 multi-platinum CDs and she went on world tour. And that included Africa. And she looked down from the tour bus and said, I couldn't believe that, you know, the other people she sang with were in the clubs and drinking this expensive champagne. She goes, I couldn't relate to it, Mom. All I could think is, how can I help these people have a better life? And she's 19 now. And she goes, but I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I said, but you have a heart of gold and you're very smart and you're going to figure this out. So she and her best friend, Tennille, formed the charity called EPIC, Everyday People Initiating Change, went her first year at age 20 and decided the most important thing was fresh water wells. And they started coming home and raising money. And that's when MTV picked her up as this young star trying to help people of Africa. And that just helped blow her charity up. And they have now 21 working wells all over. So you can look up Epic
I
on her,
will. Of course
you
I
know,
will.
yeah.
Of course I
But I'm
will.
very proud of my
I'm
girls.
going
Like I said,
to,
despite everything,
yeah.
you know, if they put their mind to it, they've achieved anything they want.
Yeah, we're gonna put her link under this video.
Cool. That would be great.
Absolutely. Anything to do with charity, that's my middle name. Anything to do with social justice, that's like what I live.
Beautiful.
So absolutely, we'll share her link in this video. Well,
Thank you.
amazing. It's been such a joy. You know what? I would want to have you on an encore show to just continue this conversation because I feel like there's so much more that we could have unpacked because even just delving deeper into what you do, it's amazing, it's phenomenal, and I am so
Would love to.
have had you on the show. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of our time today, and if you had to say that one last thing before I let you go, what would that be in one sentence?
It's time, ladies, to have the life you desire and to have the love you deserve. You deserve it. Don't
Amen,
wait.
sister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Riana. And Riana, you want to say bye to our viewers? Sorry.
Oh, sure. I didn't know if I was allowed to.
Yes.
Yes. And I would like to offer some free resources to ladies at my website. It's rianamilne.com. It's my name. There is a free book that goes into childhood trauma, how to have the love you deserve, right on the homepage. Free book chapter down.
It's been so amazing talking to you, Riana. It's so awesome. So if our viewers wanted to get in touch with you, find out more about the awesome work that you're doing, how would they find you?
Absolutely. The best way, Jennifer, is to go to my website. It's rianamilne.com, my name. And I have many free resources there. First, the free ebook on the homepage is about how to have the love you deserve, and it goes deeper into healing childhood trauma. And under the books section, you can get the first 60 pages of both my books, Love Beyond Your Dreams, Break Free of Toxic Relationships to Have the Love You Deserve, and the sister book, Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success. That's all about the mindset for success. So they're meant to go together. And then also my podcast, Lessons in Life and Love with Coach Riana Milne. I have like 106 shows on my YouTube channel or on iTunes. So check those out. There's a lot of free education there. And I'd be glad to meet with any of you for a private one-on-one session. There's details about that right on my homepage.
Amazing. And we're going to put your links down below as well. So if somebody needs to get hold of you, they will be able to find the links down below. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
It's been so amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Riana. I've had such a pleasure hosting you today. Thank you. And you have a great day now.
Thank you, Jennifer. God bless everyone.
Bye.